Houston Real Estate Radio starts right now.
Thanks for tuning in to Houston Real Estate Radio this Sunday afternoon to learn more about real estate news and information you can use on your next real estate transaction. I'm Shannon Register, and we are broadcasting from the 11th Annual Fall Home and Garden Show out at the Woodlands Waterway Marriott. We've had a great turnout out here. This is the last day of the show, so come on out. We are located right next to the ticket booth, right across from Wonderful Windows. You can buy your tickets to the show. And it's been a great turnout. A lot of different vendors out here. If you're thinking about doing some home changes, if you need to add a pool, if you want to redo the landscaping, if you're thinking about tearing out that kitchen and redoing it, anything you want to do for your home, you can pretty much find here at the show today. So a lot going on. And remember, if you've got a question, a real estate question, we will answer that right here on the air for you. You can call us at 281-882-8088. If you miss any of today's show and want to watch the videos, or if you just need to find out more information about the 11th Annual Fall Home and Garden Show, you can go to HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. Later in the show, I'm going to have Philip LaGroppe on talking about Wonderful Windows. If you're looking at buying an older home, which a lot of people are just because they can't find what they want right now, they're having to go with a little bit older home because they can't find what they want. If you're doing that, you can certainly come here and find people to do all those renovations and changes. And if you talk to Philip, they can give you a quote for changing out all the windows in your house. And you could always ask your seller to compensate you for that. So that's a great thing to do if you're looking at buying an older home that's not so energy efficient. So I'm talking next with Mike Lesmeister of Ameripro Funding. I always send my clients over to Ameripro to get pre-approved so that they can purchase their homes. And if you are looking to purchase, they have a great pre-approval program. They can get you pre-approved to buy your next home. And they also have other programs going on as well. So we're going to talk about those. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks, Shannon. Glad to be here.
We're having fun. It's a great show. Great turnout.
It is. It looks that way. Lots of traffic here. Lots of folks getting educated and learning about how to improve their homes.
You know, it's hard for buyers these days to find the house that they want because of the low inventory in our area. So, you know, what I'm finding is that some buyers are having to settle for a home that's a little bit less than perfect. You know, the less than perfect houses start looking more appealing when you can't find what you want.
Absolutely. And it's, you know, in this environment, you're right. There aren't a lot of houses on the market. Buying a new home, building a new home is taking a long time. A lot of people don't have that, 9 months in some cases, 12 months in some cases to wait for that perfect home to be built. So a lot of buyers are thinking, hey, how can I take this house that maybe isn't perfect and turn it into my dream home, right?
Right. And the thing is that it's hard when you're trying to buy a house. It's hard to envision what it's going to look like fixed up, and it's hard to figure out where you're going to get the money. If you've already got this money saved for the down payment, and now you've got to figure out how you're going to pay to renovate this kitchen that's got the old tile and the no granite countertops, and you want all those nice things in the home that you're purchasing. So you've got some programs that can help with that.
Yeah, we do, and you're right to your point. I mean, we talk to buyers all the time who they have this list of what they want in a house, and they're having to compromise on it. Maybe one of their requirements or desires is that they want a swimming pool, and they can find the perfect house. They can find all those other things, but they can't find the swimming pool.
And they don't have the money to go dump it in after they've moved in.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So there are a couple of programs out there that will allow a home buyer to essentially finance the cost of improvements or renovations into their first mortgage at the time that they purchase their home.
So tell us about that. How can you, if you're purchasing a home and it doesn't have the pool that you want, you're going to have to put the pool in, what can you do?
There are two different types of programs. One is a government program. Most people out there are probably familiar or have heard of FHA financing. Mm-hmm. So there's one program that will allow renovations and improvements through an FHA program called a 203K program.
Okay.
And there are two different versions of that. One is called a streamlined program, and one is called, for lack of a better explanation, a full program. Mm-hmm. The streamlined program will allow improvements up to $35,000. And you basically finance that into the cost of your home at the front end. You would have find and solicit bids from contractors or a general contractor and subcontractors to do those improvements. It might be large improvements. It could be small scale. It could be something just.
Well, and that's the thing. I've heard of the 203K before, but generally when I hear about it, it's because they're buying a foreclosure and it needs some renovating to get it where they can lease it. But we're talking about using the program in a different way than most people have heard about using it, which is just your standard consumer going to buy their home, whether it be a first home or a third home, being able to use this process, this loan.
Absolutely. And as long as the improvements are not structural in nature, in other words, you're not putting on a new roof, you're not moving walls around, perhaps you're doing some of the things that we talked about. You're putting in new countertops, you're putting in new cabinetry, you're updating a bathroom, you're putting in wood flooring, things of that nature.
Cosmetic.
Maybe you're doing windows. Maybe you're changing out the windows and using wonderful windows and siding for that.
Get more efficiency in your home. Yep.
All of those things can be done using that streamline program, which is basically more cost effective. Anytime you have a program that is going to roll in additional costs, it is going to be more expensive than just a standard mortgage. There are going to be inspection fees. Maybe your rate might be a little bit higher, and there'll be some other fees to perhaps have vendors or contractors approved. So it is going to be a little bit more expensive, and you have to have the right contractors because those contractors have to agree to abide by the terms of the disbursements of that mortgage.
Right.
So as long as they're not structural changes, you can use that streamline program up to $35,000. If the improvements become structural in nature or you go over the $35,000, at that point you really need to be looking at the full 203K program. So that's the FHA version of the program.
And you said there's another?
There's another program, a conventional program, and every mortgage company talks about it a little bit differently. It's Home Start, it's an escrow holdback, but it's a program that'll allow you to do effectively the same thing. For example, the program that we have will allow you to finance up to 95% of the purchase of your home and the cost of those improvements. Now, whether that improvement is a swimming pool, the new kitchen, whatever that might be, the way we kind of evaluate that, because you have to worry about over improving your home too.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
a lot
right.
of people make that mistake too. They buy a $100,000 house and they put another $100,000 into improvements, and it's still only worth $150,000.
Right.
So what we will do is we will finance up to 95% of the after improvement value of the home, which we determine through an appraisal, a pro forma appraisal of the lesser of either that post-improvement value or the cost of the home plus the improvements, 95% of the lesser of those two.
Fantastic.
And there are some other limitations. It can't exceed $100,000 or 10% of the total cost of the home. And
so if you're thinking about this, they really need to call you and talk to you because there's some special parameters they'll need to know about. So they can always call you, Mike, or your partner, Rick, over at Ameripro, and I know you guys will talk them through any of those programs and their options as well.
Absolutely. We're happy to do it. They're certainly not right for everyone.
Right.
You've got to know what you're getting into. You have to know the costs that are involved and if it's going to work for your circumstances.
Now let's talk about refinancing because there are a lot of people out there who like their house. They want to stay in their house, but they know that doing some improvements to the house will help them on energy efficiency, or it's just something they've always wanted, like a swimming pool. So what can they do? What are their options? Because they've already got a mortgage, so they don't want to go take out another they've already got a mortgage. The home isn't paid off. So what are their options?
I would say that there are three different options to narrow it down that an existing homeowner can do to make improvements to their house if they don't want to pay out of pocket for it. The first one is to really take advantage of today's low rates. If somebody's out there and they haven't refinanced their first mortgage right now, now's a good time to do it. We've started to see that rates are climbing. We're no longer at the 3.5%, 4% rates that we had a couple of months ago. Rates have started to go up, and a lot of people feel like they're going to continue to go up.
Right.
So now is is a great time if you're looking to make those improvements and you have some equity in your home. That's the important part of it, to not only refinance your first mortgage, but roll in the cost of those home improvements into that mortgage. You can do that using a Texas home equity loan, what's also called an A6 loan, that'll allow you to finance up to 80% of the current value of your home, whether that's the current mortgage that you have on your house, your outstanding balance, plus the cost of those improvements. So that's the first way to do it.
Okay.
The second way to do it, let's say that you've already refinanced. You already have a low cost mortgage. Your mortgage is at 4% or 3.5% or whatever it might be, and all you need is $10,000 to do some improvements. Another option to explore is to get a second mortgage, and there are really two types of second mortgages out there. There's what's called a closed-end second mortgage, which is just like a first mortgage. You borrow a certain amount of money for a certain period of time. Your interest rate is typically fixed, and your payment's going to be fixed for the term of that mortgage. The second option is to take a home equity line of credit, and lenders all over the place, banks, offer those. Those are typically going to be at variable rates. There are some out there that have some fixed rate provisions, but most of them are going to be variable or adjustable rates. The advantage of that home equity line of credit, though, is that you can draw up and draw down that line of credit as you need it. So if you wanted to put in the swimming pool this year and borrow $30,000 and pay that off over a few years, and then a few years down the road you want to redo the kitchen, you can access that line of credit again without having to go through another whole set of closing costs and another appraisal and all those different types of things.
So it sounds like there's a lot of options that really, when consumers are thinking about making home improvements to their current home, or they want to buy a house but it just doesn't have all the features they want, they know they're going to have to make changes to it, they really just need to get with a lender like you and just find out what their options are and really talk through the different scenarios and pick which is going to work best for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's if they're looking for something that's not an expertise that we have or a product that we don't have, I mean, we're happy to refer them to other local lenders that can assist them with that too.
Now tell us how people can get in touch with you. So if they do need to get pre-approved to purchase a home, or if they want to look at one of these options for their current home, how can they reach you?
Yeah, they can call our office. Our number is 832-286-1600. They can talk to myself or, as you mentioned, my partner, Rick. They can also contact me directly via email. My email address is mikell@HLSTX.com. That's an acronym for Home Loan Specialist Texas.com.
And you are a home loan specialist. That's right.
And they can also visit our website at HLSTX.com.
And we have a link to your website from the HoustonRealEstateRadio.com website. So if you didn't get to write that down, or you don't remember it, go to our website and click on their logo, and you'll find their webpage and can get in touch with them that way too. So always a pleasure to have you on, Mike. You always have great information for us. I know you guys hear a lot of noise in the background. That's because we are at the 11th annual Woodlands Fall Home and Garden Show, and it's a great turnout out here. A lot of people looking at a lot of things going on. We've got some great guests coming on for you a little bit later on in the show. We're going to have Wonderful Windows coming on to talk about their products. So we're real excited about today's show. Got a lot going on for you. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors here on Houston Real Estate Radio.